Good day, and welcome to the Government Contracting webinar series. My name is Mary Jo Williams, and I'll be your facilitator moderator for today's session. And before we begin, we'll have a message from the delegate to Congress.
Good day. I'm Stacy Plaskett, Delegate to Congress for the Virgin Islands of the United States. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to this Government Contracting webinar series. The VI Small Business Development Center, along with my team, have worked collaboratively over the past few weeks to pull together the invaluable resources and information that will be shared over the next month and a half. There are a number of excellent opportunities available to us as Virgin Islanders, and once we are armed with the right knowledge and opportunities, we have the capacity to truly build the future that we deserve. It is my hope that the details and resources provided will be a significant help for each of you who participate. A special thank you to Mary Jo Williams and the VI Small Business Development Center team who put this together. And thank you to each of you for joining us.
Okay, we will have Mr. Pedro Acevedo Adams, who will be presenting on contracting with the federal government, as our presenter for today's webinar. Mr. Pedro Acevedo oversees the management of the Federal Contracting Center, the FECC, a division of the Puerto Rico Department of Economic Development and Commerce. He is responsible for the design and implementation of comprehensive strategies to increase federal contracting in Puerto Rico. Mr. Acevedo has 35 years of management and federal contracting experience in the federal government, state government, nonprofit, and private sectors. Prior to his appointment with the FECC, Mr. Acevedo served as the director of the Women's Business Center and deputy director of the Small Business Development Center, both federally funded business development programs of the University of Sacred Heart and Inter-American University, respectively. As director and business development consultant, Mr. Acevedo assisted hundreds of entrepreneurs plan and establish their own businesses. He also established the Grant Management Office of the PR Department of Transportation. Mr. Acevedo holds a bachelor's and a master's degree in business administration and is a level 3 certified contracting specialist of the National Association of Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. Mr. Acevedo Adams, Mr. Acevedo, I turn over control of the session to you.
Thank you, Mary. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, thank you. First of all, thank you to the USVI Small Business Development Center for giving us the opportunity to share with you today some information about federal contracting. Basically, we're going to be talking about how to do business with the federal government. We're going to be dividing the presentation in 3 sections. The basics, how the government procures or buys their products and services, and how to sell to them. This is going to be very informal. So any questions that you may have, please feel free to write them down. You can put them in the chat or in the questions section. And Mary will read them to me. And also at the end of the presentation, we will have another opportunity, and maybe Mary will be able to open the mics just in case if you want to ask the questions directly to me. So myself, Pedro Acevedo, I work with the Federal Contracting Center. I am part of the Puerto Rico Department of Economic Development and Commerce, and we have been doing this for the last 33 years. So we feel very comfortable with the topic, and we manage here in Puerto Rico in our office close to $1 billion in federal contracts every year. Right now, right after Hurricane Maria, as you all know, purchases have increased a lot, not only for Puerto Rico. I was doing a search, a basic search of all the contracts that have been awarded in the USVI, and I have seen a lot of them. So hopefully you have been able to bid and you have been able to do business with the federal government. And if you have not, this will be a good opportunity for you to have a better understanding of how to do business with them and how to search for those opportunities. So if you go to the basics, one key element is that you need to identify if you are a small business or if you're not a small business. As a rule of thumb, the small business you will be using the USSBA, the US Small Business Administration definition, which is usually, at least in Puerto Rico, 95% of the companies in Puerto Rico are considered small business because, as an example, if you have a CPA, a Certified Public Accountant's Office, to be considered small, your revenues cannot exceed $22 million as an average in the last 5 years. If you are a construction company, your revenues cannot exceed I believe that is either 40 or 40, it's either 35 or $40 million as an average in the last 5 years. So the numbers are very high. So maybe, and I'm almost sure that all of you, the people that are in this presentation today, are considered small. So that is one key thing that you need to determine. And I'm almost sure that all of you are considered small business. The government, the federal government, they have different programs to be able to help all small companies. And for example, this first one, the one that says Rule of Two, tells the federal procurement officer, the contracting officer, that if he knows or if she knows that there are at least two small companies, small businesses that are able to bid and to perform on a contract, and that they will be able to perform and bid with the price that is reasonable for the government, they should set aside that contract for a small business. They should not, so only small businesses will be able to compete for those contracts. That is the rule of two. There's some contracting and subcontracting limitations that we will talk about later. And there's several programs that will help you become more competitive when you do business with the government. For us, some of them are the Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business, the Hub Zone, and I believe that USVI 100%, I am not completely sure, but almost sure, that 100% of USVI is considered Hub Zone, and if it is, all of you should qualify for that certification, the Women-Owned certification and the 8A certification. Those are different programs that we will talk about it that will help you become more competitive. And why do they have those programs? Mainly because the federal government has a goal, as you can see on the screen, that at least 23%, you will not see that number here, but 23% of all the federal contracts should be set aside for small businesses, at least 23%. Additionally, 5% of all the federal procurements should be set aside for companies that are considered small and disadvantaged. 3% for companies that are certified HubZone, 3% for women-owned, and 3% for service-disabled veterans. So if you qualify for HubZone, you should have that advantage. But you may also qualify for women-owned, and you may also qualify for service-disabled veteran, and you may also qualify for 8A. So you could qualify for none of them, or you may qualify for all of them. That is something that you should sit down with your small business office and determine. And if you do qualify for one or more, those are certifications that I encourage you to apply for because they will help you a lot. We already talked about the small business set-asides, the government, any contract that they anticipate that is going to be less than $250,000, over $10,000 and less than $250,000, they must be set aside for small businesses. So when you talk to any of your buyers in the USVI, or any buyer, any federal buyer, when you're talking to them and you're marketing to them, please be sure that all the contracts that they are going to issue, if are within this range, 10,000 to 250, they will be set aside for small businesses. No one else can participate, only small businesses. The rule of two, we already talked about it. And the limitations on subcontracting, this is very important because the government, what they want is, they want to make sure that the small business that gets the contract performs the contract. They want to make sure that the small business knows, learns, and grows and gets the required experience by performing on the contract. They want to avoid to have a small business just to bid on the contract and just getting a percentage of the profit, but subcontracting the work to somebody else. They just don't want to see that happening. And what they have established is, and knowing that sometimes the small business cannot conduct or perform 100% of the contract, they have established subcontracting limitations. And as you can see, in the case of a contract for services, the small business that gets the contract, that small business, they have to meet and they have to perform at least 50% of the contract. This is on contracts over $250,000. At least 50%. So you can subcontract 50% of the contract. You have to do at least 50 with your own people. In the case of contracts for supplies and products, it's exactly the same. 50% has to be done by you and your people, and you can subcontract at least 50% or less to other companies. In the case of construction, it's different. If you have a contract that is for general construction, you could do, or you have to do at least 15% of the contract with your people, and you could subcontract up to 85%. If you're doing a construction contract that is considered a specialized contract, plumbing, electrical, roofing, painting, and so on, you will need to do at least 25%, and you could subcontract 75%. So those numbers apply when the contract is over $250,000. Below $250,000, these limitations are not a requirement. Over $250,000, make sure that you meet either the 50% or, in the case of constructions, either the 15 or 25%. I am going to do this rather quickly because we only have 1 hour or less than 1 hour. So I'm gonna go rather quickly through the presentation. At the beginning, I mentioned to you that there are several certifications, and I mentioned the 8A, the HubZone, the women-owned, and the veteran-owned, service-disabled veteran-owned. So let's talk very briefly about each of one. For the 8A certification, the principal advantage, what most everybody is interested on, is that first bullet. Is that if you are 8A certified, you have that certification. You, the contracting officer, let's say that I am a contracting officer. I am not, but for this example, that I am a federal contracting officer, and I'm going to be buying something, and I know that the contract is going to be less than $7 million if it's for manufacturing or for any type of products, or if it's for less than $4 million when it's construction or services. So let's say that I'm going to be doing a construction work. I understand that the work is not going to be over, it's not going to be more than $4 million. So I could contact you as an 8A certified company. And if I believe that you can perform, that you can do the contract, if we can agree on a price, on a reasonable price, doesn't have to be the lowest, but a reasonable price for you and for me, I could very well give you that contract. That contract will not go, I will not compete that contract with anybody else. I will not advertise that contract. I will tell you, well, listen, if we can get to an agreement, this contract is yours. That's what they mean by sole source. 7 million for manufacturing and products, 4 million or less for construction and services. So that is, it just doesn't get any better to have a contracting officer to talk to you and say, well, listen, this contract is for you if we can agree on it. So that is the main benefit of the 8A program. There are a lot of them, a lot of benefits, but again, because of time limitation, I'm going to stick with the main ones. This presentation, Mary will be emailing you the presentation, so you will have the information with you. For the 8A contract, 8A certification is a certification that it only lasts 9 years. So you have to make sure that if you get certified, you take maximum advantage and you do a lot of marketing, and you have to really move to talk to the contracting people, to advertise, to market to the contracting people, to search for contract opportunities, to try to get 8A set aside contract for your business. Because after the end of the 9 years, it's over. And you cannot apply again. It's only one time for 9 years. Even though if you open another company, you will not be able to apply because it's only one time. So when should you request the 8A certification? When you know that you're ready, when you know that you really understand how to do business with the federal government, that you have a product that is being purchased by the government, that's when you should apply for this. If you do not know how to do business with the government, don't apply for the certification. Wait until you feel comfortable doing business with the federal government. To qualify for 8A, you have to be a US citizen, and you are. You have to be socially and economically disadvantaged. Socially, they have certain groups, at least for us in Puerto Rico, we're considered a minority because we're Hispanic. So we're socially disadvantaged. And I believe that USVI, most of you are also considered socially disadvantaged. And again, you will have to excuse me because I don't know that much about USVI. More than you have the most beautiful island that I have known, even though Puerto Rico is very beautiful. But for socially disadvantaged, I believe that all of you are considered socially disadvantaged. And for economically disadvantaged, your net worth, your personal net worth, not the business, your net worth cannot be more, cannot exceed $750,000. So if you are a small business, you have been in business for at least 2 years, you are considered small, socially and economically disadvantaged, you should be able to qualify for this certification. There are other requirements. I'm just giving you the main ones. And this is something that I do not expect for you to understand all of this right now. But this is something that you can talk to Mary and the SBDC people, set up an appointment with them, and they will help you with all this. Socially disadvantaged, here's an example of the definition. And economically disadvantaged, here's also the definition. As I said, $750,000 or less, an adjusted income of less than $350,000, and your personal assets cannot go over $6 million. In Puerto Rico, most of our companies do qualify because these are very high numbers. HubZone. The HubZone program, and as we saw before, 3% of all the work should be set aside for companies certified HubZone. And for HubZone, the main requirement is that your company must be, this is Puerto Rico, but I'm sure that is even better in the USVI. Your company must be located in a HubZone area. Puerto Rico, as you can see, all the blue and the red is considered HubZone. The white is not considered HubZone. So you will look at the USVI map, the HubZone map, and that is within the US SBA homepage. You will look at the map, and if your business is located in a HubZone area, and again, I believe that 100% of you are, and if at least 35% of the employees, live in a HubZone area, and you are a small business, and you are a US citizen, you should qualify for the HubZone certification. And it's something that it's not that difficult to apply for. For the women-owned small business program, before, and this is a new change. This changed at the end of last year. Before, SBA accepted a self-certification. You could self-certify that you were a women-owned, and that was all that you needed. Now, after October 15 of 2020, you must be certified, formally certified as a women-owned. So you have to go through a certification process. You have to apply. They will do an evaluation, and then they will decide if you qualify or if you do not qualify for women-owned small business. Okay, okay, thank you. I see that 100% of USVI is considered HubZone. Thank you. Okay, so women-owned, you need to certify. Self-certifications are no longer valid. So for women-owned, again, the requirements, there's two different programs: women-owned small business and economically disadvantaged women-owned small business. That all depends for which one you qualify and for which one you would like to apply for. But those are the basic requirements. The most important ones is that the woman has to be in full control of the business. needs to have the highest salary, needs to have the highest position, and needs to have the capacity and the ability and the knowledge to be able to manage the business. And it has to be working on the business on a full-time basis. For veterans, veteran-owned small business or service disabled veteran-owned small business. Again, 3% of all the work has to be set aside for veterans, service disabled veterans, except if you're doing business or if you're looking for opportunities with the Department of Veteran Affairs. If you want to sell to VA, to the Veteran Hospital, as an example, VA is required to do everything possible to set aside the work for service disabled veterans, if not for veteran-owned small business, which means that VA, they have to first consider any service disabled veteran or veteran-owned as a first choice, and then they can, and if they cannot find people with that certification, then they can open the opportunity to everybody else. But VA, 100%, they have to go first to VA, to veterans. If not, they will go to somebody else. So if you are a service disabled veteran or a veteran-owned small business, this is another certification that you should apply for. And this is the definition. We already talked about subcontracting assistance. This slide here is although are the same numbers, the goals, but these are subcontracting goals, not as we saw initially. What we saw initially was contracting goals. These are subcontracting goals. What do I mean by that? If I am a large company, I am not small, I am a large company, other than small business, and I get a contract with the federal government, I will be required to subcontract to small businesses. I will need to submit a subcontracting plan to the government, telling the government, listen, I am going to subcontract work to women-owned, to small and disadvantaged, to service disabled veteran, and to hub zone. And I will do my best to meet these goals or whatever goal they agree on. This is important for you because maybe you may not get a direct contract with the federal government, or you may not even be interested in doing directly with the federal government, but you are interested in doing business with large businesses, with large companies. So if you know that in the USVI, they awarded a contract that the company that received the contract is a large business, and all that information is public. You will be able to find all that information. So if you know that a contract was awarded in USVI or any place, I mean, you can, depending on your business, it doesn't have to be USVI. You can bid in Puerto Rico, you can bid on anywhere in the United States. But let's say USVI. You need to, you know that a large company received a contract. You should talk to that company and you should market to that company, because that company is almost certain that they will need to subcontract with women, veterans, hub zone, and disadvantaged businesses. So you will have an advantage. And they should be interested in talking to you because you will be able to help them accomplish or to meet the goals that they need to meet. So for subcontracting opportunities, we have a lot of companies in Puerto Rico that that they tell us, listen, I don't want to do business with the government directly, but I do want to do business with Johnson & Johnson, the pharmaceutical, with Eli Lilly, with those large companies. And that's why they get certified, because those large companies, they do take that into consideration when they're going to select new contractors. So the certifications are very, very good to have if you want to do business directly with the government, and also if you want to look for subcontracting opportunities. Something to consider. So those are the basics. Now, how does the government procures? How the government buys what they need? They have different methods of doing that. When they are going to procure, or they need to buy something that is below the micro purchase amount, which is right now, I believe that is $25,000. No, 10,000, I'm sorry, $10,000. So if they're going to buy something that is $10,000 or less, they can use their credit card and just call someone and say, well, listen, here's my credit card. Go ahead and deliver this to me. A lot of money in micro purchases, because the agencies, they buy a lot and they have their own credit card, and they will call you and say, go ahead and deliver this, and here's the money. They may also have to procure items that are higher than $10,000, but lower than $250,000. And for those purchases, they will not be able to use the credit card, but they will be able to do a request for quotation, an RFQ, which is a rather informal solicitation. They will require at least 3 people, and they will award to the one that they believe that meets their requirements. But those companies, they must be small businesses, or if they have purchases that they need to have to be more formal, they will use either sealed bidding or contracting by negotiation, which is called, I mean, the way that we know them are RFPs, request for proposals. Now, how do you know what are they buying? Where do you go to find out? You go to different places. One place will be directly to the contracting office. You will go and talk in USVI. You will go and talk to GSA. You will go and to the General Services Administration, Federal. You will go and talk to the US Postal Office. You will go and talk to your National Guard people. To all the federal agencies, you will go and talk to them, market to them. That's one way. Additionally, when the government, when they have purchases, then they, Mary, can you still see my screen? I switch.
Yes, I can.
Okay. I switched to the live, to a live website. Just wanted to make sure that you will see in the live website. In this website, data.sam.gov, the federal government publish every single day in this website what they're buying, if they believe that it's going to be over $25,000. So if I am going to buy something that I believe that is going to be higher than $25,000, I have to publish that information here. You don't need to have an account, although you should, because if you have an account, you can do a lot of different things. But let's say that you do not have an account. So for this example, I will not sign in. I will go without my account and do a search. And as you can see, I will open this section here. I will select contract opportunities. Let's say that I am interested in learning whatever is available for USVI. I can filter all the information. I can filter all the information by the place of performance. So in this case, I am selecting a filter for place of performance state. And I will go ahead and go to that filter, which is right here, place of performance state, and let's write VI. Here it is, US Virgin Islands. You can type anything. You can type Puerto Rico, Florida, whatever you want. But for this example, let's say that I'm looking for USVI. Remember, this is for $25,000 or more. For less than that, you will go to directly to the contracting office, or there are other sites that you can go to because we have only 1 hour, I cannot go into more details. But if you go, I did the search for USVI, and here are 5 opportunities. As you can see, the first one, this is a pre-solicitation. It's not a solicitation yet, but it's something that is coming out, so you should start reading. If you believe that you're interested in doing work on whatever this is, domestic water piping repairs for St. Croix, if that is something that you believe that you'd be interested in either bidding for that opportunity or to act as a subcontractor, what they're saying here is this is a pre-solicitation. It's coming out. It's not out yet, but be on the lookout. If you want to know a little bit more information, and I say a little bit more because it's not yet a solicitation, here it will tell you, in this case, this one is set aside for a small business, which you will be able to bid on it because I'm sure that you are a small business. In here, it could also say women-owned or 8A or HOP zone or service disabled veteran. If it says something else, if it says women-owned as an example, and you're not certified as a women-owned, you cannot bid on it. But in this case, any small business should be able to. It tells you a brief description of what it is. It tells you that this project is between $1 and $5 million. And it says that Hilary Gonzalez, and has the phone number and her email. Apparently she's in New York, is the one that is going to be managing this solicitation and this contract. Okay, so we saw one opportunity. There is another one, National Guard Vehicle Maintenance. Apparently their motor pool, they're going to be doing something there. And looks like it's construction. The same thing for one, it was in St. Croix, the other one for St. Thomas. Community-based outpatient clinic. So here are the opportunities that you could, if you're interested, you should look into that and prepare the bids, and hopefully you will get it. But make sure that you can meet all the requirements. Here you should either open an account and do that very, very easy. You just come to the sign in and they will ask you to open an account. You will open the account. and you can prepare and you can program, you can tell this website to tell you, to let you know every time that a solicitation comes out for an item or service that you are interested on. You can tell the website that every time that happens, for the system to email you that opportunity. That is something that you can do. You can create a search agent so the system will work for you. If not, you can log in every day and do the search to find out if there are opportunities or new opportunities. And usually in Puerto Rico, we see new opportunities every single day. So I go into this system every single day. So that is the best place to go for any opportunities over $25,000. Less than $25,000, again, talk to the federal agency or look into, there's some other places that you can look into. Today, unfortunately, I do not have the time. I did mention here some other websites where you can go to find those opportunities. This last one, FedBid, and here, I'm sorry. And here is their website, unisonglobal.com. You will see their opportunities usually under $250,000 and under $25,000. So that is also a good website to go, and it's completely free. And let me take the opportunity to make sure that you understand that doing business with the federal government is always, always, always free of charge, at no cost to you. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to pay anything for the certifications. You don't have to pay anything to register, to get the DUNS number, anything at all. And it's important for you to know that and to understand that, because you will be receiving, or you are already receiving, emails, phone calls, people talking, approaching you to sell you or to ask you for money. You don't have to pay anything at all. If you decide to pay for, it's your option, and you can contract people to do that. But my advice, learn how to do it and do it yourself. Don't pay for anything. And lastly, how to sell to the government. And the first thing that you need to do, you must be registered to do business with the federal government in their system for award management, SAM. That is their Contractors Registration. Again, free of charge. It will take you an hour, hour and a half to do it, everything online. You should make sure that you develop a profile, a DSBS, Dynamic Small Business Search profile, in the SBA website. And that is a place where you will be able to advertise yourself and to tell everyone who you are, your experience, your capabilities. That is a perfect place to advertise. You don't need to, but you should prepare a capability statement telling the government or anyone, this is who I am, this is what I can do. And you should market, market, and market. Again, SAM, the Contractors Registration, must be there. The small business profile, please don't forget to register and to get your profile up to date. And the capability statement is a document that will help you advertise using the federal government language, which is not English, it's not Spanish, it's their language. Just as if you're going to sell to a construction company, they have their own language. So we need to understand the federal government language And for marketing, a capability statement is something that you should prepare to market to them. Here are some examples. Usually the capability statement should be only 1 page. In the worst case, 2 pages, no more than that. But no more than 2, but the recommendation is 1. This example is a 2-page format, front and back. And basically, you're telling the government your core capabilities, your experience, your NICE codes, and your past performance. Here is a 1-page. And don't look at the art, because these are just random examples and templates. But here's a 1-pager. And it's the same information. Tell them your core competencies. What are you good at it? Your past performance. What makes you different from the competition, your differentiators. And the company information, your DUNS number. Do you have any certification? What is your NICE, your case code, all that information. So this is a document that you should prepare to help you market to the different federal agencies. It's not the usual brochure that you use to market yourself, because here you're telling the government your past performance and what makes you different from anybody else and why they should contract with you. This basically concludes my presentation. I was trying to keep it to the 1 hour. It's 12:56, so I believe that we did okay. Now we will, Mary, I am done with the presentation. Thank you again so much for allowing me to participate and to share with you this presentation. And if you have any questions, or if you people, the participants, if they have any questions, I am open to answer them.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pedro Acevedo. Now, before you guys run away, we have 2 quick videos we want to show you after we finish doing the Q&A. But right now there's a question that says, can you go over how to get to the St. Croix projects on the website again, Mr.
Of course.
Acevedo?
Of course. Okay. Let's go to the internet. We're going to the web page. The web page, you can see it here at the top, beta.san.gov. You will, once you're there, you will go to contract opportunities. You can either type here USVI, but I'd rather do a search. And here you can see the filters. And in the filters, you will add place of performance state right here. And now look that right now, because I haven't filtered anything, you can see, let me make this larger. Okay. You can see here that is showing 170,000 results because I haven't filtered anything. Now, if I want to filter the information, and I can filter, look at the right side of the screen, I can filter by anything that I want. Anything that I want. But let's say that I want to filter only for USVI. And I do that. Now, when we go to the top, look at, instead of the 97,000 opportunities, now I'm looking at only 5 results. And here they are. If you create an account, you can save these searches, let me sign in. I'm going to sign in with my account. And again, you can sign in. It takes you no more than 5 minutes to open an account. So, okay, I am already signed in. So let's say that I am looking for contract opportunities. And I change the filter. And I selected place of performance state. And I selected USVI. And here we are. But let's say that I want to save this search. So I don't need to keep doing everything that I just did. I can come here. As you can see on the right top side, right here, you can see my cursor. And I can do save search. I will select a name, let's say USVI. This is only for me, so you can write whatever you want. And you can do as many searches as you want, because you may want to do one for Puerto Rico, one for Florida, or one for USVI for construction, and one for USVI for, I don't know, for products or services. So I saved it. So now I have that purchase already, that search already saved. Now, when let's say that tomorrow, if I come back tomorrow and I go to my workspace, and this is where you're going to get, once you sign in, you're going to come here and you go to your saved searches. Now you will see all the searches that you have. I have several of them, but the first one is the one that I just created. And if I click on it, it's going to run the search without doing anything else. But if I want, I can tell the system to do the search for me instead of me doing it. So I go to the save searches. I go to this one, to the USVI search, and you will see to the right actions, and you will tell the system notify. And now, every time that the system runs, every single day, the system will run, it will look for opportunities for this search for USVI. It should email me an announcement, an email telling me your search has changed and there's something new. And you will go in and find out what it is. And that's how you do it. Okay, hopefully I was able to answer the question. Anything else?
I don't see any other questions in the chat. Oh, well, the question is, can they contact you later?
Unfortunately, because the funding that we have, we're only allowed to serve people from Puerto Rico. So unfortunately, we cannot, I mean, we're more than glad to do this type of training for you. But we're not allowed to use the DLA, the Defense Logistic Agency money, who is the people that pays me to do that, for companies outside Puerto Rico. You should contact Mary or the SBDC, and if they need assistance, I'm sure they will call me, and I will do my best to help them help you.
Yes. Okay, there was another question about the assistance listing on, what is the assistance listing on SAM.gov?
Okay, this is for grants, not for procurement for purchases. This will be for grants. Before, they had all this information in grants.gov. Now they have the information in grants.gov and also here. And eventually, everything is going to move to this platform. But assistance listing is for grants, not for procurements.
While I have the folks still on the line, can I do the quick poll to see who's all registered in SAM at this point?
Of course.
Okay. If you're registered in SAM, well, even if you're not registered in SAM, can you answer the poll? Because the SBDC staff is available to assist folks with getting registered in SAM. It's one of the first steps in being able to do business with the federal government as well as with the local government at this point. And next week, Thursday, for our government contracting workshop, we're going to have the Department of Property and Procurement talk about how to do business with the Virgin Islands government. Okay, I'm going to end the poll now. And none of the folks online that answered our survey are registered in SAM. So that sounds like the SBDC has an excellent opportunity to help some people make some more money. Okay, wonderful. All right. So, Mr. Pedro Acevedo, I want to thank you for your participation in helping us with this webinar. And there's another question that they had a DUNS, would it still be active?
What was that?
Somebody had a question. They had a DUNS a long time ago. Would it still be active, a DUNS number?
It should be. Yeah, the DUNS usually keeps active. The SAM, it must be renewed every year, at least every year.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, sir. And before everybody else escapes, we're going to play the 2 quick videos so you can see what the SBDC has to offer. Thank you very much, Mr. Acevedo. We really appreciate your assistance.
Okay. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Has your business been affected by COVID-19? The Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center is available to assist entrepreneurs and small businesses in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The VISBDC is sustained by the University of the Virgin Islands and the U.S. Small Business Administration and collaborates with local agencies to support the small business community. The VISBDC is nationally accredited and provides free consulting, business education training, and technical assistance. Attend workshops with subject matter experts from both the public and private sector. From idea generation to exit strategies, the staff at the VISBDC is ready to assist you. Now is the time to contact them if you need assistance with the Federal Paycheck Protection Program, so don't wait. Call or email them to find out how they can help your business grow and succeed.
And we have one more video. We have the video actually in Spanish.
¿Su negocio ha sido afectado por COVID-19? El Centro de Desarrollo de Pequeñas Empresas está disponible para ayudar a los empresarios en las Islas Vírgenes de los Estados Unidos. El VISBDC es sostenido por la Universidad de las Islas Vírgenes y la Administración de Pequeñas Empresas de los Estados Unidos para apoyar a la comunidad de negocios pequeños. El VISBDC está acreditado a nivel nacional y ofrece consultoría gratuita, educación empresarial y asistencia técnica. Asiste a talleres con expertos en la materia, tanto del sector público como del privado. Desde generaciones de ideas hasta estrategia de salida, el personal del VISBDC está listo para ayudarlo. Ahora es el momento de contactarlos si necesita ayuda con el Programa Federal de Protección de Pago, ya que esta oportunidad de financiamiento está programada para finalizar el 31 de marzo del 2021. Llame o envíe un correo electrónico para averiguar cómo puede ayudar a que su negocio crezca y tenga éxito.
Okay, great. So on behalf of our state director, Mr. Ted Gutierrez, and the staff at the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center, I want to thank you all for joining us today. And we will be back this afternoon at 3 p.m. with the basic bookkeeping series. And today is understanding your basic financial statements. So that will be at 3 p.m. So hopefully we'll see you guys this afternoon there. And then next week, Tuesday, we'll be back with the SBA and answering questions about the Paycheck Protection Program, which ends on March 31st. So please join us this afternoon, next week, Tuesday. And next week, Wednesday, we will also have the disaster resiliency webinar coming up, e-commerce from brick and mortar to click and mortar. So we'll see you guys later this afternoon or at least next week. Thank you for joining us and have a great day.